From the moment you see Scarlet Nexus in action, it's hard to not think of this game as a successor to the likes of the action-heavy experiences pioneered by studios such as Platinum Games and Capcom, but with a more cerebral edge to it. After all, imagine this scenario. A horde of brain-eating monsters have appeared in your futuristic city, and the only thing standing between them and an all-you-can-eat buffet of human grey matter are a few hormonal teenagers armed with nothing but the power of the mind. I don't mean that figuratively, because Scarlet Nexus wastes no time in urging you to use your psionically enhanced swordsmanship with the environment around you, which usually revolves around clobbering these beasties with nearby pieces of debris and construction equipment. After all, why would you hack and slash away at a monster when you can use psychic power to hurl a minivan at them and set it on fire? The catch here is that Scarlet Nexus isn't just a polished and smooth action game with some incredible moment-to-moment gameplay that packs a psychokinetic blast into each attack. It's also a game with plenty of melodrama, relationship goals, and extreme anime tropes. And while its story is lacking some very necessary exposition to help properly flesh out its world when you first start, heaven help me, but I cannot help but love this ambitious adventure, which feels like it was ripped straight from the pages of Shonen Jump. In Scarlet Nexus, you're getting something that is virtually unheard of in the world today. A story from two points of view, each one existing as a counterpart to the other and creating a surprisingly balanced tale of psychic powers, government corruption, and the true origin of the nightmarish world around you. Each story will take you around 20 hours to complete, and experiencing both of them is essential towards understanding the full scope of the game's narrative. Plus, there's nothing better than spending 40 hours absolutely smashing monsters to pieces with the game's incredibly cool combat systems. As a game which has very deep anime influences, Scarlet Nexus does of course include a cast of characters that live up to all the usual tropes of the genre. There's the childhood sweetheart jockeying for best girl position, guy who hates you for a good reason but he's kind of eventually cool, the real best girl because she's so adorably shy, the joker with a dark secret history, and of course my favourite archetype, the haughty know-it-all who's like all smug and superior but it's not as if she likes you. Barker. What's weird is that the world of Scarlet Nexus is incredibly fascinating, even if concepts such as the Other's suppression force, the technology of the world around you, and why everything looks like a love letter to the Tron movies are about as half-baked in their explanation as a bad cake on an episode of MasterChef. But where Scarlet Nexus falters in properly setting up its world, it more than makes up for it in how it fleshes out the characters who inhabit it. Yuito and Kasane, the protagonists whose stories you'll experience throughout the course of the game, hit the ground running with their own supporting cast of unique comrades in psychic arms, each narrative having its own surprising twists and turns in a complex conspiracy-laden plot that pays off beautifully when you get the full picture. Between those big moments, those dagger-to-the-heart plot twists and explosive action, Scarlet Nexus also takes time to breathe, giving you a chance to know the characters around you as their personalities develop. These Bond episodes take place during a standby phase from your home base where you can gift your teammates with items you've discovered and go on missions with them that increase the effectiveness of their powers in combat. Let me put it this way, why should your childhood sweetheart be limited to merely enchanting your attacks with pyrokinetic power-ups, when you can chat to her and get a flaming inferno boost to your arsenal? That's some magical content right there, and part of Scarlet Nexus's charm as it weaves Fire Emblem levels of care into its cast of adorable and godlike teenagers on a mission. But the real major part of the game's appeal is going to come down to its combat, which is just so damn good. Scarlet Nexus takes a few pages out of the Devil May Cry playbook. While Yuito and Kasane have different weapons for getting up close and personal to the brain-eating monsters lurking about, they both share a similar set of psychokinetic takedowns that allows for the environment around them to be used to its maximum potential. Yuito has neat lightning-quick sword attacks while Kasane uses an entire supermarket's worth of knives to stay out of harm's way. Both characters also have access to higher forms of power, such as an automatic boost that kicks in with a snazzy mask once the meter has been filled, rewarding them with more speed, power, and regenerative abilities in the physical attack department. On the opposite side of the power up fence, there's the Brain Dance transformation, which exists as a more mental alternative for dealing damage, but with a much shorter window of opportunity due to its double-edged nature. On top of that, you can also further augment the heroes with a range of new skills as you level up, giving the game some RPG flavor as you watch all those delightful numbers pop out of the heads of monsters while your personal stats grow in power. Imagine a Jedi Knight from Star Wars high on death sticks and you'll get the general gist of how they play. The beauty of this system is how it brilliantly uses one aspect of combat that flows into the other, each one perfectly complementing the action of the other to create a vibrant scale of action that's never boring. But where Scarlet Nexus sets itself apart is with your teammates, each one providing a fascinating augmentation to your set of powers. The struggle arm system essentially allows you to enhance Yuito and Kasane's abilities on the fly to take advantage of specific weaknesses with every other you encounter, mixing up these psychic gifts to take down mobs of challenging enemies as you progress deeper into the story. So for example, pyrokinesis works a treat once you've drenched nearby others in oil from some nearby drums. Clairvoyance helps you cut through the fog to see where enemies are hiding, and let me see if I can pronounce this correctly. Sclerokinesis, I think I've got it right. Sclerokinesis hardens your body to a point where you can temporarily laugh off damage. And that's just Yuito's complement of SAS abilities, as Kasane's platoon allows her experience to feel so much different in comparison. While a more varied number of other enemies would be hugely appreciated, this massively ambitious goal of creating a multitude of different playstyles for two protagonists is definitely worth experiencing, with each character's journey having a satisfying feeling to how they handle while they look incredibly cool in the process. Oh Brain Crush, I could write love letters to you! Compared to the number of other anime action games out there that opt for a simple arena fighter setup, Scarlet Nexus feels like a breath of fresh air. It may not be based on any existing anime or manga, but its entire setup, world and characters easily allows it to stand shoulder to shoulder with any of its peers. While it is occasionally let down by a lack of variety in that world and a setup that will leave many people scratching their heads around the latest plot twist thrown at them, everything else more than makes up for those quick stumbles. Thanks to a fine balance that mixes JRPG staples with the exhilarating action which leans heavily into style and substance, digital friends who you'll cherish as you get to know them, and two distinct campaigns that pack plenty of emotional hits, Scarlet Nexus is easily one of the best action-packed games of 2021 so far.